We're so happy that you could make it today. This is the opening pre-conference keynote, and this is the beginning of a few weeks of the awesome K-12 online conference that is going to take place. These are the dates, and you can find more information online also. My name is Shannon McClintock Miller, as the video just showed, and I am the district teacher librarian and technology specialist at Van Meter Community School in Van Meter, Iowa. We have a lot going on in our school, but I also travel a lot and see how really education and learning is transforming. And we're going to talk today about that too. I have my friend Meridan with me who's going to tell her story also. But as I was preparing this and thinking of the theme of transforming learning, I had an experience last week at the Iowa Student Learning Institute, and I thought that I knew what I was going to talk about, and I was going to focus on just all, technology and digital tools and innovation, but then I had something happen that I experienced that I got to see firsthand, and I'm going to tell the story of Meridan and her at the conference. So Meridan, I invited her to come to this conference with me, and it was a great conference put on by these two young men, Ian and Jack, and about 6 months ago they started talking about this conference, and myself and a few other teachers in Iowa, we really just served as kind of a sounding board for them to push their ideas off of, but they put together the first Iowa Student Learning Institute, and we all came together on a Saturday, and I invited Meridan, and I invited some other kids, and I also invited my friend Jackie, who is here with her mom, and this is her actually talking to one of our old teachers, Jeremy Cooper, and they're talking about Minecraft before the conference started. But Jackie was a little bit nervous. She had never been to anything like this, and Meridan had been to events like this, and she had been to events like this with her mom, Lisa, pictured here. And we listened to first Ian and Jack open up with this great introduction to the conference. And then we had the pleasure of meeting and listening to Brett Neese, who is an amazing young person who is still a student but a really successful entrepreneur and has this great vision about education. And I love this picture, Meridan, because what were you doing?
It was really inspiring for me to listen to him. I even took a picture.
Yeah, that was a neat presentation, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Then we got to Skype with Zach Malamed, who I just met at the BAMI Awards in Washington, D.C. And Zach is the founder of Student Voice. If you don't follow Zach, I highly suggest that you follow him and his hashtag StuVoice, because they're doing really great things. But we listened to him, and Meridan, she even asked a question. What did you ask him?
My question was if there is any elementary students participating in Student Voice, and he said yes, a few, but he needs lots more.
That's going to be fun, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get involved with that. And then probably Jackie's favorite presenter, and Meridan actually loved listening to Scott McLeod too, was Scott, because he spoke about all kinds of things that kids are doing, and this was him telling about a Minecraft project. So Jackie, loving Minecraft, she probably absolutely loved hearing Scott McLeod speak also. So after they got done speaking, it was time for the breakout sessions, and everybody else left the auditorium. And this is Jen talking to the girls, and then the moms were kind of talking. And I took a step back, and I looked around the auditorium, and in this dark auditorium, in the middle, were Jackie and Meridan. They had not met before this day. They really didn't talk too much before we started with the keynotes and listening, but afterwards they had found a connection, and the light is, of course, their devices. And so what's happening in this picture? Can you tell us what happened?
Well, in this picture, me and my new friend Jackie, she likes Minecraft, and so do I, so she's kind of more of a Minecraft girl than I am, and she was really interested in my blog. So what we did was we went to eBlogger on her iPad, and we set up a blog for her. It's called Minecraft Girls Minecraft Blog. I helped her make her first post, and this is what it looks like.
That was so exciting for her. And we really didn't know, bringing Jackie to this conference and having her be new, and even Meridan, what the girls would get out of it. It could have been just this huge day of just taking at the different pre-conference type things, or maybe during the keynotes, or even in the breakout sessions. But this was the big thing that they took away from it. And not just their friendship, but also afterwards, this was what really inspired me to talk about it today with all of you, is that I got a text from Jackie's mom, Jennifer. And she said, "Thank you so much for inviting us today. I feel like knowing you will change my life and Jackie's too. Thanks for being you." And, it's all about us as teachers and what we can bring to not just our kids, but also to their families and to our community. But having the kids, empowering them to have these voices, is really going to transform learning in the whole entire community. And, Jennifer said too in the other one, that she said it's amazing what you can learn about yourself when you least expect it. And isn't that true? Because that was kind of this day. I didn't think I was going to get that away from it, but I absolutely loved it. I love this too that Lisa said about Meridan. She looked at me and she said she's with her people. And this is a picture of them working in one of the breakout sessions then afterwards. And, this is what you want really your classroom to look like too. This engagement and collaboration and just working together in happiness. And so we want our kids to be with their people, just like Meridan and Jackie thought that they felt that day. So after experiencing this, I knew that I had to tell all of you this story about how we can make a difference and transform education just by asking our students to share what they want from us. And I think we need to spend more time really listening. And I'm just as guilty as everyone else. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in what we need to be teaching that we just need to take a step back and really, really listen, because we can do things by transforming anything that we can do it, I think, in a better way. So I made a survey because I wanted to know not just what my kids thought in Van Meter, but I wanted to know what kids thought all over Iowa, all over the country, and all over the world. And so I made a Google form and I blogged about it and I tweeted it. And I had wonderful messages from kids all over the world in the last week on just what they want out of their education and how we can do things differently. So from these and these questions, I pulled out these themes, I think, that I saw that would maybe be helpful for all of us to take in and to look at when we're transforming and making a difference. The biggest thing really is to let our kids have a voice. And this kind of overrides everything, and I think it's kind of an umbrella where all of these other things come underneath it. Because if we have them, let them have a voice, then we also can
let us be connected.
Can let them be connected. And so that's the first thing that we're going to talk about. And we do a lot of connecting at Van Meter. If it's not just, the traditional connecting, reading and listening to the kids and talking to them and really, really getting to know our school community, which we all do in our classrooms, our library, wherever we might be teaching. But now we also have the tools and the resources to connect them to people all over the world. We do a lot of Skyping with authors and different experts and people that they want to connect with. This is our friend Tom Engelberger, who wrote Origami Yoda. He has Skyped with us several times, and it's not just exciting for our kids and our teachers, but it's also exciting for the authors, and that really shows through with the kids. They get excited when these authors do connect with all of us. We also use social media. We have it for the school, and we use it in the library or the different classrooms. And this is the one for the library. And I have it on my computer and on my phone. And so when the kids, it's not just me doing the tweets or sending them, it's also kids picking up my phone or them doing it from my computer and sending things out also. And I have, a lot of times, these are our fifth graders, and we were collaborating with another class, and so I had the tweet deck up in the background because we were doing a project back and forth, and we wanted to see what they were saying too, so we were able to see that as a class. When I was getting ready for a presentation last spring with some students, it was fun to listen to them what they thought about the library Twitter, or maybe my own personal one that I send a lot of things out during the day because we think it's just for us or we think it's just for our PLN. No, they're part of our PLN too. And they are also getting things from this because they would go home and they would say, "Oh, Mrs. Miller, I love that you sent out that tweet and that picture about Mrs. P visiting, and I really like how you send projects of things that kids are working on or pictures." So it does make a difference to them. And I think having their own voice in there too helps also. We have an Instagram, and this is pretty new to our library, and that's one place that kids are at. It doesn't matter what their age is, but they're using Instagram on their iTouches or their iPhones, and I think that all kids, don't you, Meridan? That's a pretty popular one, isn't it, to use? And so we started one in the library, and I have it on our iPad, and we take turns. You know, different kids really, really love to do it, and this is one of the girls taking a picture of a Skype with another student, and she's posting it. And it's not just nice for them to stay connected, but it's also really great because they're learning how to use these different tools safely, you know, within the library, within the classrooms too. We do a lot of blogging. That's a great way for kids to get connected, and this is a blog that they were working on last year with an author, and so once they connected with her, then they were able to write about it. The great thing is that the author then wrote back to them, and she gave them feedback, or she even just, you know, just to say hi, that, you know, thanks for having me. But that connection really makes a difference to these kids. My son, Hagen, when he was 5, he wanted to blog, and so he's been blogging for the last 3 years, and not just blogging, but also we use Twitter to get his voice out. So if he writes a post, and we share it on Twitter and I retweet it so he can have a bigger audience, so he can get connected to other people. And what, you want to tell your story about your blog?
Well, Mrs. Miller, she's on her blog a lot, and one day I was like, oh, I just can't stand it, it's so cool, I'm going to ask her if I can get one. And so I asked, and she said, of course. So now I have a blog called Meridan's Little Voice, and I'm really enjoying it. I post about different technologies, and I like it because I can tell everybody of what I've learned.
Yeah, and you set this up when we blog with the little ones, like using Blogger. There's Meridan and there's a few other kids, Hagen too, but they go and, you know, ask their parents, and then we usually do it after school, don't we? And so that's another thing that really connects those kids, I think, to the ones that who do like to write, or maybe who like to blog outside of the class just using Kid Blog or something like Edmodo. Then they can get connected in a little different way, maybe, if they're interested in that. Our high school kids also do a lot of connecting with other classrooms. Our Spanish classes are connected. We're getting ready to do a project with New Orleans. These are kids connecting. A couple years ago, we did a class about social media, and half of the kids were in Van Meter and half were in a school in Philadelphia. And so they're Skyping with each other. And this was a really great experience because it was simple. We were teaching a class together, but connecting to kids in another part of the country was really the powerful part. And I got to go and visit them. And I'm still connected to the kids just like they would be if they were in my own classroom. And so I encourage you to reach out to other kids also, that if you meet them through their teachers or meet them through Twitter or Skyping, I think that that's another thing that you can really make a difference.
Let us collaborate.
Collaborating is one of my favorite things to do. How about yours? Yeah, mine too. These are our kindergartners, and I love this picture because it shows that, you know, even though they're using the technology and they all have their own computer, they're also up and they're talking to each other and they're helping each other and they're showing what they're learning, and maybe they might want to play a video. They're looking at a database called Pebble Go and watching little videos about cats was what they were researching last week. And so that was a really great thing to see. The kids also, they make themselves comfortable in the spaces that we have, and that, I think, leads to a lot of great collaboration, too. And this is when our 5th graders, they just got their iPads this year. Our pilot started, and so they're all getting different widgets onto their screen, but they're collaborating and working together in a big group, kind of helping each other. We do a lot of collaborating with a school in New Hampshire. Steve Gagnon's kids are awesome, and so is he. And these are his 5th graders, and they are teaching our 4th graders right now. This is Ben, and he is teaching them about using a site called GeoGuessr. But the collaboration that you see, I'll go back to this picture, you know that they are getting ready to ask questions. Ben is excited. His classmates are going to get up and ask questions, but it's all about that collaboration between these 2 classrooms, and it happens on Skype, happens on their kid blogs, and it also happens on Twitter back and forth. So we see a lot of that. We also do things where we do learning activities together that maybe both classes they're using. In this one, they're both on Edmodo, and we're using Google Hangout, and they're also playing Online Jeopardy! But it's a connection that might happen in the classroom, but we extended it just by bringing in Google Hangout where they could collaborate. We're collaborating here with a school in Georgia, and Andy Plemons is the librarian there, and we read the book Same, Same But Different. We Skyped with the author, and this was the introduction of our paper blogging and blogging activities that we did, but that collaboration just took it a little bit deeper, and the kids really were passionate about who they connected with, and they wanted to do really good work.
Let us create.
And I love creating. Being an artist and an art teacher, that's what my degree is in before I became a librarian. And so creating is super important to me. I think that this really gives kids a voice. And we do a lot of creating on paper. This is they made dots for Dot Day, and so this little girl is up on the table taking a picture on our Instagram, and she's going to post it, and these are our 2nd graders. But we do a lot of creating using paper. This is one of our seniors, and he is taking an old TV because we're making some free little libraries for our school and for our town. And so we thought that it would be cool to make one out of a TV, and so he did this in shop. So he's doing a lot of creating. This is my son, Hagen, again, and I really like this because we all are wondering how we're going to use Minecraft, I think, and how we're going to integrate it. And Hagen, he made a model of Little Bighorn Battlefield, and on his own after school, he created the same replica of the battlefield using Minecraft. And after he got done, he showed it to me that he had been working on it and had created this. And so I think giving him the tools and the access shows that what they can do too. We do a lot of creating using digital tools. This is made from, we did an I Spy book with all of our kids in 4th grade, and they made their own pictures and composition, and then they also took pictures and used what was this app that we used?
We used Education, and we used
we ended up using Google Presentation to do it. And so after a little trial and error, we put a book together in FlipSnack, and it turned out really cool. This is a little girl that's using Tux Paint to create. And these are our kids. They're taking pictures of dots, and they're using Haiku Deck on Dot Day. And then just creating, I think creation also has to do with letting them just have their voice once again. And for Dot Day, we had a little photo booth that we made, and the kids then used, it was called Spark Booth, and they made pictures like if they were in a photo booth. And so we had a lot of fun creating with that too, and then put them together in a digital tool that we could share then online. All of this work is this year we're having a pilot also with portfolios, and so all this work that we're creating is also being curated into portfolios. And so our 2nd grade and 5th grade and 4th grade, in a sense, not totally what the 2nd and 5th grade is creating a portfolio, and we're going to pilot these because next year all of our kids will have them to keep their work. These are the high school kids, and I'm really proud of them right now because in high school, we don't have study halls anymore. The kids are very, very busy. We have block scheduling for 2 days out of the week, and then the other is just like an 8-day period. And so the kids are busy during the day, and they're doing more learning than they ever have. But these are my National Honor Society kids, and I've given them some chances to be creative outside of what they do every day in their classes. And we just created a video for the bullying conference, anti-bullying conference that's going to take place in November in Iowa. And so through brainstorming, and we have a boy that his name is Michael Kinley, he put together this awesome video that was for the contest that we shared last week, and it was called Think Kind. But seeing them all creating together was pretty powerful to hear their message, and they included all of our kids K-12 within the video. And Michael and his friends, they also have a channel called the VM Above Ground, and they do news every week. But this has probably been, I think it's probably the third year, but it's really fun that they have this outlet outside of their classes that they're able to then be creative and do something that they really want to do. And also just letting kids be creative in the sense of doing projects on their own. This is Cassidy, and she made, it's for a contest that we're having right now about anti-drug use. And so this is called Tunes Out Drugs, Van Meter Tunes Out Drugs. That's pretty neat, isn't it? And all of the teachers, they have them on their doors. But letting kids also, be creative when they want to be, and having them have the tools and the supplies that they need, I think, to do that.
Let us have experiences, and that's one of my favorites.
Is it? Why is it one of your favorites?
Because experiences, well, they're really fun because you never know which kind of experiences you're going to get and what you're going to learn from them.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you think that way, because that's how I do too. I put this one first because the other day after sending out the survey, I was up in the foods class working on a project with the teacher, and one of the girls, Paige, she said, I want to start a photography club. And she didn't know that we have a photography club called Club Click. And last year we weren't very active. The first year we were really active and had a big group, and we were connecting with other schools. But it was a photography club that we just started online, and we got some schools together. And so I told Paige that this week we're going to start it up again, because that's one thing that she thought was that she really wanted and that was missing from what they were doing at school. So giving her the opportunity to do that. Kids connecting in a virtual book club. It's giving them the opportunity not just to read and to connect with literature, but also kids from around the country. We had a poetry summit last year where we connected different schools in Canada and New Jersey and Pennsylvania and Iowa, and we brought them all together one morning in Google Hangout, and we had a big poetry summit where we invited poets and authors, and it was wonderful. And we had the kids were answering questions and working in Edmodo. So this year, if anybody wants to get involved, you can follow the hashtag Poetry Summit and learn more. But we're opening it up to anybody who wants to get involved. And this was a really great way to share poetry. Also, I think inviting, it doesn't have to be online, but looking around your community and seeing who you can invite in to help the kids and give them different opportunities. Follett was in our school doing a project a few years ago, and so their camera people taught these boys how to create a green screen and they were making a claymation video and to do stop motion. And so they're like my go-to people now if I have a question. We Skyped a couple days ago with a website that creates, they actually are creating coding websites, and so the kids can create games and learn how to do programming with this. And so we Skyped with one of the creators of the website, and these are third graders, and they were so excited to think that they could create their own game or their own app. And so you see the kids that giving them the opportunity to Skype with him was really inspiring for these kids, because all kids love to play games, and so this was a good one.
Let us teach.
I do a lot. In the last couple of years, I have done a lot with the kids with video, with recording them and having them do the teaching. And so not so much flipping things myself, but having my kids flip the classroom. And Meridan's she's made some videos for me too, but this is Shay, and she did one about haiku deck, and so then I'm able to share this not just with my elementary kids but with my high school kids or parents as well, just the same as this one that these first graders made it last year, and it was with tux paint. And so we can share it not just with our school community, but we have shared it online with other schools, and we're able to teach them too. This is Meridan and some friends, and she's teaching the high school kids at Joyce Valenza's school all about playing GeoGuessr. That was fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. The group of kids I was with were really collaborative. The funny thing was that we were teaching something that we didn't know about, but we made it work.
Yeah, that was fun. And you had a good time, seeing the kids afterwards too and answering their questions, knowing that they were in high school. And we have parent-teacher conferences coming up, and I have kids that help the parents who come in and also the teachers, because they're so capable of being able to help them, but giving them, I think, those experiences to be helpful in that sense too. And this is Meridan actually and her mom Lisa again, and I like to show this because it's not just within the school, but it's also at home. And so when we're empowering our kids, we're also empowering them to be teachers at home too. And that's how we can get a lot of support from our community, because if parents know more about the tools that we're using and the access that the kids have, then they're going to be more supportive of what's happening within the school and with their kids, what they're doing at school.
Let us have access.
And so access to tools, access to the internet, access to resources. Here our kids are on ebooks and in the library and also online in Mackenvia, and they're using different tools to get to these. But having access to these different ebooks and these different databases, it really gives them the tools that they need to do this creating and collaborating. We had our elementary, I love it because we said that they went Google last year, and so our K-5, they're using Google Drive, and this has really given them a lot of access. Our high school kids have had it this is our 5th year for our one-to-one, and so they've had it for the last 5 years. But our elementary, giving them access, it's opened them up to be able to collaborate, like Meridan said, on that book that you made for I Spy. That's how they did it, was they collaborated because they had the tools. This is one of our junior high kids, and she wrote a book, and she's collaborating using a Google Doc with an author and with publishers to get it published. But she's able to have that access. With that access, she can do that. And also just access to new tools. We have an iPad on a stand, and this has been really fun for the kids, even if they're little, because they're able to, she's using the Instagram, and then they're just taking pictures during dot day. And then we put them all together. But it was, it's something that they can set up, and it can be set up in the library all the time, but giving them the tools that they need. And these two boys, they have their own devices, and so they brought their own devices to school, and they were able to put the apps from our library, what they needed, onto their devices. And so also letting them use their devices for good, I think, is a great thing. And when we started school this year, we used Remind 101, and the kids then joined the group that we had for the library, and they really liked it. It was something fun to get the kids in the library, to get them looking at books and checking things out, but also to connect us to the kids when we get new books, or when we have a special event, or when we have something that maybe we want to tell them. It's just keeping them connected.
Let us create our space.
So letting them create their space, I think that it's good to let them have a voice and not be so quiet. I had a girl the other day, a kindergartner actually, raise her hand, and she said, "I'm really glad that the library isn't like the other ones I've been to, because we can be noisy here and make a mess." And so that was fun to hear, because it is always changing, and the kids have a great time creating in it and making their own space. This is their space to learn. Our NHS kids turned a closet into the book swap room last year, and so just by moving a few things, we were able to take our space that is really a pretty small space and turn something into something good. And taking it outside too, this is into the hallways, and they created QR codes of books that they had read, and they had done book reports over, but we took our library then out to the hallway, and we also take it online using tools like Symbaloo and other tools, our Google sites for our libraries, but taking it online so kids have access to these tools that they need all the time.
Let us have choices.
Choices are good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we like to have a lot of choices like any of us do. And I think that, with having access and having the technology and having the environment that we want to transform the learning, I think choices is a good thing with kids. And so I always try to think how I can give my kids a lot of choices. And I included this because even, having them just move to a different place, this is Michael, and he was working on the anti-bullying video. He wanted to work out in the hallway in the rocking chair, but giving him that opportunity, to have that space, I think was really fun for him. We started the Technical Difficulties Library Club last year, and the kids, that was totally their idea, totally the title that they wanted, and they created this poster, but it was fun because they took the club really to where they wanted to, and this was kind of a fun day. We were making a video, wasn't it? Yeah, it was fun. What was the video about?
The video, I think, was about Cat in the Hat Day, and
we were
just
promoting,
messing around with the hat.
We were promoting something, weren't we? Using our tools to make a difference.
Let us make a difference.
I like to also inspire the kids to do a lot of things outside of school and help others. My NHS kids, they started a program a few years ago called Dreams to Life, and they raised over $7,000 to help a school in Des Moines buy technology for their students. We work with they mentor a group that are called the King Dreamers. And so it was really great to see them do this on their own, really using social media and the resources that they had. They collected money and raised money to have this really great day for the kids. And just like the girls who do She's the First, this is a group that I think the girls were in 7th grade, they started getting involved with She's the First, and they raised money and they promoted it, and they raised enough money to put a girl that lived in Africa through her education for a year. I think they raised $1,000 to support her and her education. And this is a girl that we met actually last week at the Iowa Student Learning Institute, and her name's Holly, and she's an 8th grader. She's the taller one. And she is going to get involved. We're starting a new group to help libraries and to help them across the country raise money for books and technology. And so Holly wanted to get involved, so it's been fun kind of collaborating with her back and forth because she's using Twitter and she's going to Skype us on Monday. So we're excited to get involved with her.
Let us have a voice.
So remember to let your kids have a voice. I think that's the main thing that we want to really leave you with today. And one thing that Zach, I'm going to go back to this just for a second. I think that one thing that Zach told us last week when we were listening to his keynote is Zach said that he had a teacher that believed in his voice. And all kids, no matter where they're from, no matter who they are, they should be able to say that they have at least one teacher who believes that they have a voice and that they're important and that we believe in them. And so I think also another thing that we need to remember, just like Meridan's mom said, is that we need to remember how they need to feel like they're with their people. And so I inspire you to go out this week and work with your kids and let them feel like they're with their people. If it's listening to them, if it's lifting them up, if it's letting them create and collaborate, letting them have a voice in the environment that you're in. But all of these things will transform learning. And I can't wait to hear your stories about how you're doing this. And I can't wait to see what Meridan does for the rest of the year, and all of you too.
Thank you for listening.
So thank you for listening to Meridan and I. And we really encourage you to check out all of the presentations that start on the 21st. And once again, you can go online to K12 online. 13 is the hashtag, and then go online. I think the website is K12 online. This is my information, and I can be found on Twitter at Shannon M. Miller. and my email is here at the bottom. And I also blog at Van Meter Library Voice and tell a lot about all of these stories that we're doing too. I think that's it. So thank you, Meridan, for joining me, and thank you everybody for coming, and I hope you have a wonderful week.
Bye. Thanks.